because is religion the cause of peace or the greatest instrument of war?
Hallo, es wird mir Anil Sarwal.
Thank you very much, Anand, for inviting me to your world.
It my pleasure and honor the in the
Thank you very much. We all are concerned with social issues like equality of men and women, justice, fairness, and how to end wars in the world, create peace. So I think these are important issues that we Baha'is should be involved into. And to some extent, I am into it, and I have been uh, in touch with the university professors. For example, in Moscow State University, they invited me recently, and we talked about the dangers of annihilation of whole humankind because of the nuclear weapons that we have, and much more than that. So, yes, socially active, it is very important for us to have discourses with other NGOs, participate in social action, and promote unity and peace.
I her humor and but my gate fire daughter Monday.
I think Dr. Munje was a pillar of strength for the whole Baha'i community. And now his children and you all are taking up the cause and promoting it actively. And that's a great satisfaction and great pleasure. I had met Dr. Munje a few times in Chandigarh, and I was always fascinated by his lectures. Not only me, I think it was the whole country. They loved Dr. Munje so much, and he was an ocean of knowledge. And especially, he had a lot to tell us about the similarities of the Baha'i faith and Hinduism. And his book, Vasudev Kutumbakam, The Whole Earth is But One Family, is so relevant now because even India, we have G20, and they made the central theme of G20 as One Earth, uh, One Family, and One World, something like this. They have this slogan. So the whole earth is but one family, whole world is but one family. That's a very important concept. And Dr. Munje, he could quote endlessly from the Vedas and from the Hindu scriptures, from the Bhagavad Gita, from Ramayana, and tell us how all the manifestations of God and Baha'u'llah for our age, how they have actively promoted world peace. And it has been so much pleasure. I remember he came home once and my mother was not well, and he gave her homeopathic medicines. So he was a doctor and a great scholar. So he would teach both ways. He would cure people's physical illnesses, as well as he would give them the spiritual medicine, which would be to know God and to worship Him and to follow the commandments of the manifestation of God, Baha'u'llah, who is a manifestation of God for this age. Uh, I think I have many more memories I can tell you by and by, but yes, he was a very inspiring personage. He could move masses He could satisfy the curiosity of the seekers and guide them to the right path.
You are engaged in one of your videos. Why should they when everything is online? Continue that do you be it us and
That's a very interesting question. In fact, uh, I used to ask my master's students who would be doing masters in English, why did they need to come to class? Because we have online resources and what the teacher teaches is there on the internet. So why should they come to the class? So generally, this would be the first question in every session when I would interact with the students for the first time. And there were very interesting answers they gave. One was that coming to the class, they meet other people. So if the class is learner centered, it means if the teacher gives learners the opportunity to speak in classes, which is kind of rare in India, but it is there all over the world. The teacher should speak, let us say in a class of 1 hour, 60 minutes, the teacher should only speak for 20 minutes at the most. And he should inspire the students, prompt them to give their views. And actually, there is also something known as flipped teaching, where the teaching materials, maybe online, can be sent to the students in advance. So they can be asked to make presentations, what they have understood in the class from those materials. And then the other students can question them. So this interaction in the class is very rewarding and satisfying for the students. This can happen online as well, but it is much more enjoyable in person. There can be jokes, there can be activities, there can be games in the class, face to face. So that is one point they always raise. They said that coming to the class, they meet other people, they socialize, which is a human need to share with other human beings. And also the teacher is there to facilitate the discussions in a disciplined manner. And if there is something they don't understand, they can personally clarify from the teacher. Also, the second point is that personal contact with the students and with the teachers. There are many things which they cannot share online. There are things that they would like to share in a personal talk, the personal issues they are facing, the personal challenges they have. And for that, face-to-face contact is important, especially if you consider teacher as a counselor. So even sometimes the students go to the teacher with their personal problems, maybe about their marriage, maybe about their parents, maybe other challenges they're facing in their life, about their jobs. So that cannot be so much done online or on telephone. It is much better face to face. Yeah, there are many other benefits of coming to the classes. Uh, I think in this age of internet, face to face teaching would remain. Maybe there would be a mixed method of teaching. That is, some teaching could be done online, some by, for example, YouTube has so many videos on each subject. So many people consider YouTube as their teacher, and they learn a lot. Even I use YouTube to learn about various subjects that I don't know. So this is one. And the other one is that some part of regular courses should still be face to face. They would have the students would have opportunity to come and consult with the teacher and learn from them firsthand and seek clarifications. That is very, very important. So this hybrid method, I would recommend in the present day, a hybrid method of teaching. The face-to-face classes should not be lecture. They should be learner-centered, as I said, with lot of activities, games, puzzles, questions, inputs by the students. Teacher talk should be limited, and also online resources which can be accessed anytime. The benefit of online resources is if a student wants to study at 2 a.m. in the night, that is still available to him. So he can go to the internet, search for the topic. Study skills have become very important. So we have to orient the students how to use the internet, how to find the right information. There is many sites have fake information or unauthentic information. So that danger is there. So students have to be trained in study skills so they can make the right use of the internet and online resources, as well as they should go to the face-to-face classes for a period of time with pre-prepared questions for discussion, pre-prepared, pre-thought materials so that everybody can benefit from those classes. Sorry for this long response, but this is a tricky question.
You have a new name video. There you about the body involving law. How do you own the topic for your care?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. Um, there are so many things about the Baha'i faith which are very important. We discussed some of them, like oneness of humankind, oneness of God, and oneness of religion, equality of men and women. Uh, Religion and science should be in accordance with reason, and a supreme tribunal, a universal language. So many of these teachings are very much needed today. So I try to pick up themes where we can talk about oneness, or we can talk about science and religion, and we can talk about ending wars. Uh, some of the videos that I make are also on specific issues. For example, there were martyrs, women martyrs in Iran, and the whole world is concerned about them. So I had a very rewarding YouTube video with one of the professors in Chandigarh who spoke so beautifully about martyrdom. The talk is in uh, Urduized Hindi, and everybody can understand in India. But it moved me so much when he was reading out what he had prepared on martyrdom. Now, martyrdom, for example, is such an exalted theme because when you give your life for your cause, that is the supreme proof of your belief and the truth of your cause. So this was one video recently we did on the martyrs in Iran, women martyrs in Iran, and many other topics like what is prayer, what is meditation, and how to live the life, how to have a balance in life. We are so, most people are so busy now doing so many jobs, and they have very little time for prayer, worship, and service to others, service to society. So some of these themes, and one more last point I would like to make is that interfaith discussion. We are very strong in interfaith in Chandigarh. We have a wonderful bishop, a wonderful Sikh representative, Brahma Kumaris, and Muslim representatives. A wonderful group. So at times, some of the people, for example, a few videos I made were the similarities or how to pray from Sri Guru Granth Sahib, which is the Sikh holy scripture, and the Baha'i faith. So we this sometimes attract people because Baha'i faith is now getting known. It may not be very well known in the world at the moment. Not everybody would know, but other faiths are known. But there are so many questions now because is religion the cause of peace or the greatest instrument of war? So when we delve deep into the teachings of religion, we find that there is peace and there is no place for war in the true religion. And to bring up such themes for the young people and to so that they understand what is religion, what is true religion, it can never become the cause of war. And I would end with this quote from Abdul Baha on this theme. He says, religion is the greatest instrument of establishing peace and order in the world. If a religion becomes the cause of disunity and discord, it is better to be without such a religion. And he further says, to give up such a religion would be a truly religious act. So, to clarify the role of religion uh, through the Baha'i writings and the and what is happening in the world, I think that's an important task for YouTubers.
Our local usually follow you or are they from every one of you?
That's an interesting question. Um, well, when we are talking, questions come up, and these questions are generally to clarify concepts, to add from the Baha'i writings, to add from the divine guidance. But also, there are questions from the viewers. For example, I recently did a video on history of the Baha'i faith, um, in which incidentally, Mr. Mohan Munje and Mrs. Mohan Munje are prominently mentioned. They played a great role. They were in Calcutta for a long time. And in fact, they were instrumental in opening Tripura through Devdas. Devdas was one of the earliest pioneers to Tripura. The Baha'i faith, as I understand, went to Tripura only in 1978. The first pioneer went there, and then B.R. Singh from, I think, MP. And after a few months, Devdas went there. So now we made three videos of the history of Baha'i faith in Tripura. And of course, a bit of background of Devdas and the Baha'i activities in West Bengal at that time. So these videos are not very good. The quality is not very good because he did not have a good connection in near Calcutta, wherever he stays. He had gone there for some time recently. So we made three videos on the history of the Baha'i faith in Tripura. Now, because they were in English, they were seen by people in America. They were seen by viewers all over. And this morning only, Devdas phoned me, and he said that there were some comments on the videos. Some parts which some people did not like, some parts which they liked very much, and some parts which they want to be elaborated more. So, lot of this gives you a great happiness. It's not the criticism or positive comments or good remarks, but that people have seen it and they have reacted to it. And these three videos were a little longer because the history of the Baha'i faith to summarize in 3 videos is difficult. But even then, viewers saw them, those who were interested. Or for example, we did something on Rabindranath Tagore and the Baha'i faith recently. And there again, many people had questions and wanted to add more. There are many researchers who have done deep research on Rabindranath Tagore and the Baha'i faith. For example, there is Mr. Peter in America, and he was, we are in touch and might be, will have a Zoom with him further on Rabindranath Tagore and the Baha'i faith. Incidentally, Rabindranath Tagore wanted to establish a Baha'i chair in Shantiniketan. So Martha Root and other Baha'is were invited by him. They were there. So very interesting aspects of the faith, little known aspects. So one of the things we can do on YouTube is to document history. It may not be accurate. And I will tell you an incident, if you would not mind giving me 1 minute. I was doing a history of the Baha'is of Andhra Pradesh. I was in Hyderabad in English and Foreign Languages University uh, as a student and later as a teacher. So I did a compilation of based on interviews. Like I told you, I interviewed Devdas, who was the first pioneer. So first source. Now, how much he remembers correctly or not correctly is a question for historians to resolve later. But we have put the facts together. So same thing I did with the history of Baha'i faith in Andhra Pradesh. And many people had different views and so they said, no, it should not be published. The chief minister was going to come to the Baha'i Center on I don't remember, maybe it was New Year or Rizwan, some of very important Baha'i days. And incidentally, Dr. Munje had come there also. Dr. Munje was our honorable, most important speaker for that function. And I shared with him, a very young man. I didn't know Dr. Munje very well, but he was the vice chairman of the National Spiritual Assembly of Baha'is of India at that time. So he understood my agony to some extent. It was not actually agony, but yes, I was a bit that why should we not publish when we have taken interviews and recorded, and whatever was known to people there, they had told me. And I dug up old photos of Mr. Afshin, who was a pioneer in different parts of Andhra Pradesh, the first school and other things. So then Dr. Munjat told the people responsible, he said, yes, no history is correct. And this history is beautifully written. It's very nice. There are so many pictures. And why don't we publish it? And so that was published. A booklet was done and it was published. And then also I had written an article on Tahire, the first martyr for the emancipation of women, that Indian Express published as the first article on their women's page when they started women's page in Hyderabad. And editor was a bit apprehensive because there was a part where Tahira removes her veil, and it was in those days a big thing. Even now it can be a big thing. So Indian Express editor was a bit apprehensive, but they published it, and they removed that line that Tahira had taken away the veil in the Buddhist conference, but they published it. Now, I took both of these things, the history of the Baha'is of Andhra Pradesh and this article on Tahir, and sent to the Universal House of Justice. They always say send it for their record, for the records, there. And I received a beautiful letter from the Universal House of Justice, encouraging me to write more on the history of the faith and other such things. So yeah, so these efforts, however inadequate, however limited they are, they have to continue so that we can learn more and more about our faith and tell others, how the faith spread, how it is spreading, what sacrifices are being made, and what is the importance of the Baha'i faith, Baha'i revelation for creating world peace.
So what are your of your
Before viewers, I think I have to be more careful in production of my videos because they should be short, number one. Uh, People's attention span is very little now, and they should be focused on one topic, and there should be something new that people might not know. For example, I'm writing a book on the Gita and the Baha'i faith, and I found the word yoga is mentioned in the Gita more than 100 times. And then there are so many different contexts in which the word is mentioned. So yoga is now so popular all over the world. Uh, Even in America, in your country, you find many people taking to yoga for their daily life, which is mainly physical exercise. But in fact, what is yoga? Now, that question, very few people would be able to answer. Yoga is, according to Gita, the union with God. It's a science of union with the manifestation of God or the supreme God. Now, it's a very difficult thing. How do you unite with something so vast, so exalted, so above our comprehension? And then in the Gita, 18 chapters, Lord Krishna explains, that if I were to summarize, and surprising, he says, we should surrender to the manifestation of God. He's telling Arjuna, he says, the supreme yoga is to surrender to the manifestation of God and to follow his teachings. These two things. That is the crux. That is how we can attain union with God, so to say, union. And then he explains what is union. Union is adopting the divine teachings in our life so that we become also somewhat divine. That is the virtues that we would practice, like charity, truthfulness, kindness. They would transform our character and make us spiritual. And that is becoming godly. It is not becoming one with God, but you become in a way similar in the sense that you have those teachings reflected in your life. So you have spiritual character, and that is nearness to God. As Baha'i writings say, we should try to attain nearness to God. How can we attain that? When we follow the teachings that are taught to us in the scriptures. And you see the same thing now when you talk about insight. When you read Kitab-e Aqdas, the first commandment that Baha'u'llah gives is to recognize the manifestation of God. And the second is to obey his commandments. And he says, one without the other is not fruitful. If you don't recognize the manifestation, but you put all his teachings in your life, that is not acceptable. And on the other hand, if you accept Baha'u'llah as the manifestation of God and all the previous manifestations of God, like Lord Krishna, like Lord Christ, like Lord Muhammad, that Baha'is respect, like Buddha. But if you don't follow their teachings, it doesn't make sense. So the whole study of the Gita and the different kinds of yogas that have been given there, for example, there is Gyan Yoga, there is Karam Yoga, and there is Bhakti Yoga. They are all one, Lord Krishna says. And what is Gyan Yoga is true knowledge. And what is Karam is actions, righteous actions, actions according to the teachings of the manifestation. And then what is the Bhakti Yoga? It is devotion to God. When you have right knowledge, you have right actions, and you have love for the manifestation, love for God, then you are devoted. You are a devotee. So the same things we see in the Baha'i faith. What? The social context has changed. So the Vasudev Kutumbakam that was there in the Gita, maybe that time we did not know where is America, we did not know where is Europe, we did not know. It was not a big world at that time. Maybe parts of India were known. So the same teachings, now Baha'u'llah says there should be world government, there should be world weights and measures, there should be world parliament, world legislature. So the same teachings, but the social context changes. And that is again explained by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, that manifestation of God appears because we forget the real message that was given by the manifestation. Before Krishna, there were Vedas. So now people had forgotten the real teachings of Vedas. So Krishna had to come and renew them. Same teachings he had to renew because people had forgotten. Give them in the pure form. People were confused. They didn't know what is their dharma, what is their duty. And Lord Krishna tells them what to do. And second thing was the social context in which Mahabharata took place. He tried his best. He was a messenger of peace, as Abdul Bahas says. The message of Krishna was a message of love, but people did not comprehend that. And the big war took place, lot of destruction took place. And then again, righteousness was established. That is why. So what I'm saying is that my expectations from my viewers are not many if they would listen to the video till the end. And I would try to make short videos, but sometimes topics are such, it is difficult to contain them in 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But yes, so both ways, viewers could also give suggestions to me, what topics they would like to see, view, or hear about. And yes, that's the main thing.
Be a even for blue in that even would be mixed it would move like worldwide.
That's a very interesting question.